understanding what it means to live for yourself. Living for yourself is about embracing your true identity, honoring your values, and making choices that align with who you are rather than what others expect of you. It's not about being selfish, careless, or disregarding the people you love. Instead, it's about recognizing that your life is your own and that you are responsible for how you choose to live it. Living authentically means prioritizing your own needs, dreams, and growth, without being weighed down by the constant need for approval or validation from others. Many people go through life feeling the invisible weight of expectations, whether they come from family, friends, society, or even the media. They chase achievements that don't excite them, follow paths they don't believe in, or shape themselves to fit into molds that were never meant for them. For example, someone might pursue a career they dislike because it pleases their parents, or stay in a relationship because they're afraid of what others might say if they leave. These decisions, made out of a desire to satisfy others, slowly erode their sense of purpose and joy. When you live for others, it becomes easy to lose sight of who you really are. Over time, the person you present to the world starts to feel disconnected from the person you are on the inside. This disconnect creates frustration, confusion, and a sense of emptiness. You might ask yourself questions like, why am I unhappy even though I've done everything I was told to do? Or, why do I feel unfulfilled despite having achieved what others call success? These questions are signs that you're not living in alignment with your true self. This is a great time to reconsider your goals. To live for yourself means embracing your individuality and making choices based on what genuinely brings you happiness, fulfillment, and growth. It's about being honest with yourself and asking, what do I want from my life? What makes me feel alive? What kind of person do I want to be? These questions can feel uncomfortable, especially if you've spent years living to please others. But asking them is the first step toward understanding why you need to live for yourself. Living authentically doesn't mean shutting others out or disregarding their feelings. Relationships, friendships, and community are essential parts of life. However, living for yourself means approaching these connections from a place of strength and self-awareness. You choose to show up as your authentic self, rather than as a version molded to meet someone else's expectations. For example, being honest about your dreams, even if they differ from what your loved ones imagined, allows you to build relationships based on mutual understanding and respect. It's important to recognize that living for yourself doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey that requires courage, introspection, and sometimes discomfort. Stepping out of the shadow of others' expectations can feel scary because it challenges the safety of familiarity. You may fear judgment, rejection, or disappointing those around you. But in the long run, living a life that's true to you is far more rewarding than living a life designed to keep others happy. One way to start living for yourself is to identify the areas in your life where you feel most restricted or unfulfilled. Are you in a career you don't enjoy? Are you pursuing hobbies because they're trendy rather than because they make you happy? Are you holding back your opinions out of fear of being judged? Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward change. Awareness allows you to begin questioning whether the choices you're making are truly yours or whether they've been shaped by others. It's also helpful to reflect on what truly makes you happy. Sometimes, when you've spent so long living for others, it can be difficult to remember what brings you joy. Take small steps to reconnect with your interests and passions. Maybe it's writing, painting, traveling, or spending time in nature. These activities help you rediscover parts of yourself that may have been pushed aside or forgotten. Living for yourself means making time for the things that light you up, no matter how insignificant they may seem to others. Another essential part of this journey is learning to trust your instincts. Often people ignore their gut feelings because they're afraid of going against the grain or making the wrong decision. But your instincts are powerful guides pointing you toward what feels right and authentic for you. Trusting yourself takes practice, but with time it becomes easier to make choices that align with your values and desires. Living for yourself is a journey of self-discovery and growth. It requires letting go of the need for constant approval and finding the courage to take ownership of your choices. While it's not always easy, the reward is a life that feels meaningful, purposeful, and true to who you are. As you embrace this path, you'll discover a deeper sense of fulfillment that isn't dependent on external validation. In the next scene, we'll explore why living for others holds you back and how constantly seeking approval can prevent you from experiencing true freedom and happiness. But for now, take a moment to reflect on your life. Are there areas where you're living for others instead of yourself? What choices might you make differently if you gave yourself permission to live authentically? By understanding what it means to live for yourself, you take the first step toward creating a life that's uniquely yours. Why living for others holds you back? Living for others often starts innocently, shaped by a desire to please loved ones, fit in, or meet societal expectations. At first, it can seem harmless, like choosing a career because your family supports it, or agreeing to plans because you don't want to disappoint a friend. Over time, however, consistently prioritizing the desires, opinions, or approval of others can lead to feeling unfulfilled, stuck, and disconnected from your true self. While it's natural to want to be liked and accepted, making this your guiding force can quietly hold you back from living a life that is truly your own. One of the biggest dangers of living for others is that it limits your growth. When your decisions are made to satisfy external expectations, you often ignore what you genuinely want or need. For instance, someone may pursue a job in medicine, law, or business, not because they're passionate about it, but because those fields are seen as respectable or lucrative. Years later, despite outward success, they may feel empty, unmotivated, and unsure of who they really are. Living for others stunts the natural process of self-discovery because you're following someone else's blueprint rather than your own. Another consequence of living for others is the emotional burden it creates. Carrying the weight of people's expectations, whether it's from parents, friends, or society, can be exhausting. You might feel pressured to always say yes to be agreeable or to live up to an image of perfection. This constant effort to meet others' standards can drain your energy, leaving little room for your personal goals, needs, or desires. Over time, it can cause stress, resentment, and burnout as you realize how little space you've given yourself to grow. Book 2. Fear of judgment is another major reason people prioritize others' expectations. The thought of being criticized, rejected, or misunderstood can feel overwhelming, leading you to suppress your true feelings or desires. For example, someone who dreams of becoming an artist might abandon that passion out of fear that others will see it as unrealistic or foolish. The desire to fit in and be accepted becomes stronger than the courage to follow one's dreams. Yet, no matter how much effort is put into meeting external approval, someone will always have an opinion, and living for others rarely guarantees lasting validation. Living for others also creates a dangerous cycle of seeking external validation. When your worth is tied to how others perceive you, happiness becomes conditional. You may achieve something significant, like earning a promotion or buying a house, but the satisfaction is fleeting because it was done to impress someone else, not for your own fulfillment. Relying on external approval makes it impossible to feel at peace with yourself because you're always chasing the next form of validation, whether it's praise, acceptance, or admiration. This way of living can also cause you to lose touch with your instincts. When you constantly look outward for direction, whether it's through societal norms or the opinions of others, you become disconnected from your own inner voice. You might second-guess your decisions or struggle to trust yourself because you've spent so much time deferring to what others think. Over time, this erodes your confidence and leaves you unsure of what you truly want. Relationships, too, can be impacted by living for others. When you shape yourself to meet someone else's expectations, you're not showing up as your authentic self. This can create surface-level connections that lack depth or honesty. For example, if you pretend to share the same interests as someone just to keep them happy, you may feel invisible and unfulfilled in the relationship. Living for others can also breed resentment because it feels like a sacrifice. You're giving so much of yourself without receiving the understanding or acceptance you crave. Another consequence is the missed opportunities for personal growth and fulfillment. Living for others often means saying no to your own dreams or goals because they don't align with what's expected of you. Perhaps you turn down an opportunity to travel because it doesn't seem practical, or you abandon a hobby you love because it's not seen as valuable. These sacrifices may seem small at first, but over time, they accumulate into a life that feels disconnected from your true passions. To break free from this cycle, it's important to recognize that no matter how hard you try, you cannot control how others perceive you. People's opinions are shaped by their own experiences, beliefs, and biases, many of which have nothing to do with you. Trying to please everyone is an impossible task, and the energy spent doing so could be better used to create a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. Letting go of the need for approval is not about rejecting relationships or isolating yourself. It's about choosing to live on your own terms. It's about learning to trust your instincts, honor your values, and build a life that reflects your true self. When you start living for yourself, the relationships that remain will be stronger because they're built on honesty and mutual respect, not performance or obligation. In the next scene, we'll explore the importance of self-awareness and how reconnecting with your inner self can help you identify what you truly want from life. But for now, take a moment to reflect on the areas where you might be living for others. Are you pursuing goals or maintaining relationships out of obligation rather than genuine desire? By recognizing the ways external expectations hold you back, you take an important step toward reclaiming your life and living it fully for yourself. The role of self-awareness in living authentically. Self-awareness is the cornerstone of living for yourself. Without it, it's easy to drift through life on autopilot, guided by the expectations of others rather than your own inner voice. Self-awareness allows you to pause, reflect, and understand what truly matters to you. It's about identifying your values, desires, and boundaries so you can begin to align your life with your authentic self. Without this clarity, it's nearly impossible to know what you want or why you feel unfulfilled. The journey towards self-awareness begins with honest reflection. Many people spend so much time trying to meet external expectations that they lose touch with their own thoughts and feelings. Self-awareness invites you to slow down and ask yourself important questions. What do I truly want? What makes me happy? What drains my energy? These simple but powerful questions help you uncover the motivations behind your actions. For example, if you've chosen a certain career path, ask yourself, did I choose this because I love it or because it's what others expected? The answers can reveal a lot about whether you're living for yourself or for someone else. Another key aspect of self-awareness is identifying your values. Values are the guiding principles that shape your decisions, priorities, and goals. When you're disconnected from your values, it's easy to feel lost or unfulfilled. For instance, someone who values creativity might feel stifled in a job that prioritizes routine and structure. On the other hand, someone who values freedom might feel overwhelmed in a life full of commitments and obligations. By clarifying your values, you can begin to make decisions that align with who you are, rather than who others think you should be. Self-awareness also helps you identify patterns and behaviors that no longer serve you. Perhaps you've noticed that you always say yes to requests, even when you're exhausted or overwhelmed. Or maybe you realize that you're spending time with people who don't bring positivity into your life. These patterns often stem from a desire to be liked, accepted, or approved of. Becoming aware of these tendencies is the first step toward changing them. For example, if you recognize that you overcommit out of fear of disappointing others, self-awareness allows you to challenge that belief and begin setting healthier boundaries. A practical way to build self-awareness is through journaling. Writing down your thoughts, feelings, and experiences helps you gain clarity about what's happening in your life. Journaling gives you a safe space to explore your emotions without judgment. For instance, if you're feeling stressed, you might write about what triggered that feeling and how it connects to your values or goals. Over time, this practice helps you recognize patterns, identify what brings you joy, and discover areas where you might need to make changes. Another powerful tool for self-awareness is meditation. Meditation creates space for stillness and introspection, helping you tune out the noise of the outside world and connect with your inner self. Even just a few minutes of focused breathing each day can help you become more attuned to your thoughts, feelings, and instincts. For example, meditation might reveal that you feel resentment toward a particular situation or relationship, prompting you to explore why and how you can address it. Self-awareness also involves listening to your intuition. Intuition is your inner voice, the quiet guide that tells you when something feels right or wrong. Unfortunately, many people ignore their intuition because they're afraid of going against the opinions of others. By strengthening your self-awareness, you begin to trust your instincts and make decisions with confidence. For example, if you're offered an opportunity that looks good on paper but feels wrong in your gut, listening to your intuition might prevent you from pursuing something that doesn't align with your values. It's important to understand that building self-awareness is an ongoing process. As you grow and evolve, your needs, values, and priorities may shift, and that's okay. Regularly checking in with yourself ensures that you're staying aligned with your authentic self. You might ask questions like, am I happy with the direction my life is going? Are there areas where I'm compromising my values? What changes can I make to feel more fulfilled? These questions keep you grounded and help you make intentional decisions. Another benefit of self-awareness is that it strengthens your relationships. When you're clear about who you are and what you need, you can communicate more effectively with others. For example, if you realize that you need more personal space to recharge, you can share that with your loved ones instead of feeling guilty or resentful. Self-awareness allows you to show up in relationships as your true self, which fosters deeper trust and connection. Ultimately, self-awareness is about reclaiming ownership of your life. It's about understanding that your choices matter and that you have the power to shape your path. By becoming more in tune with your thoughts, feelings, and values, you build a foundation for living authentically. This doesn't mean that life will always be easy or free from challenges, but it does mean that you'll approach those challenges with clarity, confidence, and a deeper sense of purpose. In the next scene, we'll explore how to let go of the fear of judgment and how overcoming this fear is essential for living a life that's truly your own. For now, take a moment to reflect on your self-awareness. Are there areas of your life where you feel disconnected from your true self? What steps can you take to reconnect with your values, desires, and instincts? By building self-awareness, you take a powerful step toward living for yourself and creating a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. Letting go of the fear of judgment. The fear of judgment is one of the most significant barriers to living for yourself. It's natural to want to be accepted and valued by others. But when this desire becomes overpowering, it can hold you back from living authentically. The fear of being criticized, misunderstood, or rejected often leads people to suppress their true selves, compromise their dreams, and follow paths that don't align with their values, detrimental to our health, our relationships, and our personal well-being. Letting go of this fear is essential for reclaiming your freedom and building a life that feels true to who you are. The root of this fear lies in how deeply humans crave connection. From an early age, people are taught to seek approval, whether it's through praise for good grades, fitting in with peers, or meeting the expectations of family. Over time, this approval becomes tied to self-worth. People begin to believe that if they're not accepted or admired, they must be doing something wrong. However, this way of thinking creates a dependency on others' opinions, leaving little room for personal freedom and individuality. Living with the fear of judgment means constantly trying to please everyone, and this is an impossible task. No matter what you do, there will always be someone who disagrees, criticizes, or fails to understand your choices. This is because people's opinions are shaped by their own beliefs, experiences, and values. For example, someone might criticize you for taking a career risk because they value security over passion, while you might feel fulfilled by following your dreams. Realizing that others' judgments often reflect their own limitations rather than your worth is a powerful step toward letting go of this fear. Another key to overcoming the fear of judgment is understanding that you can't control what others think. Many people spend their lives trying to shape how they're perceived, whether by dressing a certain way, avoiding conflict, or hiding their true interests. But the truth is, no matter how hard you try, you can't control someone else's mind. What you can control is how you respond to their opinions and whether you let them dictate your actions. Building confidence in your own decisions helps to weaken the power of judgment. When you trust yourself, you rely less on external validation to feel secure. Confidence comes from making choices that align with your values, even if others don't understand them. For instance, someone might choose to travel the world instead of settling into a traditional career path. While others may judge that decision as irresponsible, the person's confidence in their choice allows them to feel at peace because they know they're living for themselves. Another practical way to let go of judgment is to shift your focus inward. When you're consumed by what others think, you lose sight of your own voice. Instead, ask yourself, what do I want? Does this decision make me happy? Am I being true to myself? By prioritizing your own perspective, you gradually reduce the weight of others' opinions. For example, if you're passionate about a hobby that others find unconventional, focusing on how much joy it brings you makes their judgment feel less significant. If their passion is not yours, your relative inability to understand it has left you judgment-free to work with them. It's also important to accept that being judged is inevitable. No one goes through life without encountering criticism or misunderstanding. Even the most successful, admired, or inspiring people face judgment. What sets them apart is their ability to move forward despite it. For example, artists, innovators, and leaders are often criticized for breaking norms or taking risks, but their willingness to embrace their authenticity allows them to leave a lasting impact. The same is true for anyone who chooses to live authentically. They understand that judgment is a small price to pay for a fulfilling life. Letting go of the fear of judgment also involves developing resilience. Resilience allows you to face criticism without being defeated by it. Instead of internalizing negative comments, you learn to view them as information rather than personal attacks. Ask yourself, is this feedback helpful or constructive, or is it rooted in someone else's biases? By filtering judgment through this lens, you gain the power to choose which opinions to consider and which to discard. Surrounding yourself with supportive people is another crucial step. When you have a strong support system, people who respect your choices, encourage your growth, and accept you as you are, the fear of judgment begins to lose its hold. Positive relationships remind you that you don't need everyone's approval to feel value. For example, a close friend who celebrates your unique quirks, or a mentor who believes in your potential, can provide reassurance and confidence when others don't understand your path. Finally, letting go of judgment requires practicing self-compassion. Criticism often hurts the most when it echoes our own insecurities. By being kind to yourself and accepting your imperfections, you reduce the power that judgment holds over you. Self-compassion reminds you that no one is perfect, and that's okay. For example, if someone judges a mistake you've made, self-compassion allows you to forgive yourself and focus on what you've learned rather than being consumed by shame or guilt. In the next scene, we'll explore the importance of setting boundaries to protect your authentic self. But for now, take a moment to reflect. Are there decisions you've avoided because you're afraid of being judged? How might your life look if you prioritized your own voice over the opinions of others? By letting go of the fear of judgment, you take a powerful step toward freedom, confidence, and living a life that is truly your own. Let's move forward, setting boundaries to protect your authentic self. Setting boundaries is an essential part of living for yourself. Without clear boundaries, it's easy to become overwhelmed, drained, and disconnected from your true values and goals. Boundaries are the invisible lines you draw to protect your time, energy, and emotional well-being. They help you maintain balance, prioritize what matters, and honor your authentic self. Learning to set and enforce boundaries is a powerful step toward living a life that aligns with who you truly are. One of the reasons people struggle with boundaries is the fear of disappointing others. When you say no to someone, you might worry about being seen as selfish, rude, or unhelpful. However, setting boundaries is not about rejecting others. It's about protecting yourself. It's recognizing that you can't pour from an empty cup, and by honoring your own needs, you're better able to show up for others in a meaningful way. For example, someone who constantly says yes to work obligations at the expense of their personal life might feel resentful and burnt out. Setting boundaries allows them to find balance and create space for the things that bring them joy. Boundaries also help you clarify what is truly important to you. When you allow others to dictate your time or energy, you lose control over how you live your life. For instance, constantly agreeing to social plans or favors, even when you're exhausted, can leave little room for pursuing your own passions or rest. By identifying your priorities, whether it's time with family, personal growth, or self-care, you can set boundaries that align with those values. This might mean politely declining plans, turning down extra work, or carving out specific me time in your day. A key aspect of setting boundaries is learning to say no with confidence and kindness. Saying no doesn't mean shutting people out. It means being honest about what you can and cannot give. It's important to remember that no is a complete sentence. You don't owe anyone a lengthy explanation. For example, if someone asks for your help on a project but you already have a full schedule, you can simply say, "I'd love to help, but I don't have the time to give it the attention it deserves." This response is respectful, clear, and protects your well-being. In addition to time and energy, emotional boundaries are equally important. Emotional boundaries protect you from being overly influenced by others' opinions, feelings, or expectations. For example, if someone criticizes your choices or tries to impose their beliefs on you, emotional boundaries allow you to detach from their judgment. You might think, "That's their opinion, but it doesn't define me." Emotional boundaries help you stay grounded in your own values rather than being swayed by external pressure. Obviously, exercising can help mitigate the risk of becoming depressed. Enforcing boundaries can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to being a people pleaser. People may push back, express disappointment, or try to test your limits. This is normal. Remember, setting boundaries is not about controlling how others respond. It's about standing firm in what you need to feel healthy and fulfilled. Over time, the people who truly care about you will learn to respect your boundaries because they value your happiness and well-being. Building boundaries also involves recognizing and addressing toxic relationships. Toxic people often overstep boundaries, draining your energy and undermining your self-worth. For example, a friend who constantly criticizes you or makes unreasonable demands can prevent you from living authentically. Setting boundaries with toxic individuals might mean limiting how much time you spend with them or communicating your expectations clearly. It's not about holding grudges. It's about protecting your peace and ensuring that your relationships are healthy and supportive. Boundaries are not just about saying no. They're also about saying yes to yourself. When you protect your time and energy, you create space for the things that truly matter. This could mean pursuing hobbies that bring you joy, focusing on personal growth, or spending quality time with loved ones. By honoring your boundaries, you're sending yourself a message. My needs matter. My time is valuable. I deserve to live a life that feels fulfilling and true to me. It's also important to recognize that boundaries are flexible and may evolve over time. Life changes, and so do your needs. For example, you might need stricter boundaries during a busy season at work, but more open boundaries when you're on vacation. Regularly checking in with yourself allows you to adjust your boundaries as needed and ensure that they continue to serve you. Ultimately, setting boundaries is an act of self-respect and self-love. It's about creating a life where you feel empowered, valued, and in control. Boundaries allow you to live with intention, focus on what truly matters, and protect the energy you need to thrive. They help you maintain balance and ensure that your choices reflect your authentic self rather than the expectations of others. In the next scene, we'll discuss how the danger of comparison can undermine your journey and how embracing your unique path can help you live more authentically. For now, take a moment to reflect. Are there areas in your life where your boundaries need strengthening? What would it look like to say no to something that doesn't serve you, and yes to something that does? By learning to set boundaries, you take another powerful step toward living for yourself and building a life of balance, peace, and fulfillment. The danger of comparison and the power of your unique path. Comparison is one of the quickest ways to lose sight of yourself and your progress. It's a subtle trap that creeps into your thoughts, fueled by a constant stream of images, expectations, and ideals set by others. Whether it's comparing careers, lifestyles, achievements, or appearances, this habit erodes self-worth and breeds dissatisfaction. Living for yourself means learning to break free from comparison and embracing your unique path, one that is shaped by your values, choices, and journey, not someone else's. The danger of comparison lies in its ability to distort reality. On the surface, it might seem as though others have everything figured out: a perfect career, flawless relationships, or a lifestyle that appears carefree and luxurious. Social media amplifies this illusion, presenting curated highlights rather than the full, unfiltered picture. A carefully framed photo or a short video often conceals the struggles, sacrifices, and imperfections behind the scenes. Yet when people compare their own lives to these filtered moments, they feel inadequate, as if they're falling behind. What makes comparison so harmful is that it shifts focus away from progress and onto external benchmarks. Instead of celebrating personal achievements, people begin to measure their success against someone else's timeline. For example, someone might feel proud of buying their first car until they see a friend driving a more expensive model. This comparison diminishes their sense of accomplishment, turning a meaningful milestone into a source of self-doubt. The truth is, everyone's journey is different, and there's no universal timeline for success or happiness. Living authentically means recognizing that your path is yours alone. Your circumstances, experiences, strengths, and goals are unique to you. Comparing your progress to someone else's is like comparing apples to oranges. It simply doesn't make sense. For example, two people might start their careers at the same time, but their journeys will be shaped by countless factors, from their passions to their priorities. One person might find joy in building a family, while another focuses on traveling the world. Neither path is better or worse. It's simply a reflection of individual choices and values. One way to overcome comparison is to shift your focus inward. Instead of measuring yourself against others, focus on your own growth and progress. Ask yourself, where was I a year ago? What have I learned? How have I grown? By celebrating your journey, you reclaim the power to define success on your own terms. For example, learning a new skill, overcoming a personal challenge, or making time for self-care are all meaningful achievements, even if they don't align with someone else's definition of success. Gratitude is another powerful tool for combating comparison. When you focus on what you already have, you become less concerned with what others appear to have. Gratitude shifts your perspective, allowing you to see the abundance in your life rather than the gaps. For example, instead of feeling envious of someone's luxurious home, you might feel grateful for the comfort and safety of your own space. By practicing gratitude daily, you develop a mindset that values what's real and present, rather than chasing illusions of perfection. It's also important to curate your environment and the content you consume. If scrolling through social media leaves you feeling inadequate or frustrated, take a step back. Unfollow accounts that promote unrealistic expectations or make you feel like you're not enough. Instead, surround yourself with people and content that inspire and encourage you. Positive influences remind you that your worth isn't determined by comparison, but by how authentically you live your life. Another way to embrace your unique path is to reconnect with your values and passions. When you're focused on living a life that aligns with what truly matters to you, the noise of comparison begins to fade. For instance, if you value creativity and freedom, pursuing a simple, flexible lifestyle might bring you far more joy than chasing status or wealth. By staying true to your values, you create a life that feels meaningful, regardless of how it looks to others. It's also helpful to redefine what success means to you. Success isn't a one-size-fits-all concept, and it doesn't always involve money, fame, or recognition. For some, success might mean building strong relationships, while for others it could mean having time to pursue hobbies or travel. By defining success in a way that resonates with you, you free yourself from the pressure to compete with others. Remember, it's okay for your goals to look different. What matters is that they're meaningful to you. Finally, overcoming comparison requires self-compassion. It's natural to feel envious or insecure at times, and beating yourself up for these feelings only makes them worse. Instead, approach yourself with kindness and understanding. Remind yourself that you're doing the best you can, and that your worth is not tied to someone else's achievements. Treat yourself as you would a close friend. Celebrate your strengths, encourage your progress, and be patient with your journey. In the next scene, we'll explore the importance of prioritizing your goals and dreams, another essential step toward living authentically and building a life that reflects your passions. But for now, take a moment to reflect on your unique path. Are there areas where comparison has held you back? What achievements or joys have you overlooked because you were focused on someone else's journey? And by letting go of comparison, you open the door to freedom, fulfillment, and a deeper appreciation for your own life. Prioritizing your goals and dreams. Living for yourself means giving priority to your own goals and dreams, those aspirations that make you feel alive, fulfilled, and purposeful. These are the things that light you up, the passions that resonate deeply with who you are, and the visions for the life you want to build. Yet far too often, people push their goals aside to meet the expectations of others, or because they fear failure. By learning to prioritize your goals and dreams, you take ownership of your life and move closer to living authentically. Many people struggle to put their goals first because they're conditioned to believe it's selfish. From a young age, society teaches individuals to prioritize others, to be helpful, accommodating, and agreeable. While kindness and connection are essential, constantly putting other people's needs before your own leaves little room for personal growth or fulfillment. Imagine someone who dreams of writing a book, but never makes time for it because they're busy helping others, or saying yes to obligations they don't enjoy. Over time, this dream remains unfulfilled, buried under the weight of responsibilities that don't align with their passions. To start prioritizing your goals, you must first identify what truly matters to you. Take time to reflect on your dreams, big and small. Ask yourself, what do I want to achieve? What would make me feel proud and fulfilled? Be honest and allow yourself to dream without limitations or fear of judgment. For example, someone might dream of starting their own business, learning to paint, or traveling the world. These goals are deeply personal and unique to each individual. Identifying them is the first step to making them a priority. Once you've identified your goals, the next step is to take intentional action. Dreams don't come to life on their own. They require commitment and effort. Start by breaking your goals into small, manageable steps. For instance, if you want to write a book, set a goal to write for 20 minutes each day. If you want to start a business, research the first steps you need to take. Small actions add up over time and create momentum. Progress, no matter how slow, moves you closer to the life you want to create. Prioritizing your dreams also means learning to make time for them. Time is one of the most valuable resources you have, yet it's easy to let it slip away by focusing on things that don't serve your goals. Take an honest look at how you spend your days. Are there commitments or habits that could be adjusted to create more space for your dreams? For example, instead of spending an hour scrolling through social media, that time could be used to work on a passion project or learn a new skill. Reclaiming your time is a powerful way to show yourself that your goals matter. One of the biggest challenges in prioritizing your dreams is overcoming the fear of failure. Fear often whispers, "What if you fail? What if you're not good enough?" But failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of the journey. Every step, mistake, or setback teaches you something valuable and brings you closer to achieving your dreams. For example, an entrepreneur might experience failed business ideas before finally launching a successful one. What matters most is having the courage to begin and the resilience to keep going. Another obstacle is the influence of others' opinions. When you pursue your own goals, not everyone will understand or support your choices. Some people may question your path or criticize your decisions. For example, someone who quits a stable job to pursue a creative passion might face skepticism from family or friends. In these moments, it's important to remember that you are the one living your life, not them. Their opinions are shaped by their experiences and fears, not your potential or desires. Trust your instincts and stay focused on what feels right for you. To stay motivated, celebrate your progress along the way. It's easy to get caught up in the final outcome of a dream, but the journey itself is just as meaningful. Take time to acknowledge small victories, whether it's completing a task, learning a new skill, or simply staying consistent. Celebrating progress reinforces your commitment and reminds you of how far you've come. For example, if your goal is to get healthier, celebrate the small habits like choosing nutritious meals or exercising regularly, rather than fixating on a final number on a scale. Prioritizing your goals also means creating boundaries to protect your time and energy. People may unintentionally distract you or pull you in directions that don't align with your goals. Learning to say no to things that don't serve you is essential for staying focused. For example, if you're working on a side project, it's okay to decline last-minute social plans or extra commitments that don't align with your priorities. Your time is precious, and protecting it allows you to stay true to your vision. Allow now. Ultimately, prioritizing your goals and dreams is an act of self-respect. It's a declaration that your desires matter, your voice deserves to be heard, and your life is worth living to the fullest. Pursuing your dreams isn't about achieving perfection. It's about creating a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. When you make your goals a priority, you inspire others to do the same. Your courage and determination become a reminder that it's possible to live with purpose and passion. In the next scene, we'll explore how building healthy and supportive relationships enhances your ability to live for yourself and strengthens your journey toward authenticity. For now, take a moment to reflect on your dreams. What goals have you been neglecting, and what small steps can you take to pursue them? By prioritizing your goals, you reclaim control of your life and take another powerful step toward living authentically. Building healthy and supportive relationships. Building healthy and supportive relationships is an essential part of living for yourself. While living authentically means prioritizing your goals and values, it doesn't mean doing life alone. The relationships you surround yourself with play a powerful role in shaping your emotional well-being, personal growth, and sense of fulfillment. Healthy connections empower you to stay true to yourself, while toxic or unsupportive relationships can hold you back from becoming the person you're meant to be. Learning to nurture the right connections and release those that no longer serve you is key to living a balanced, authentic life. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, trust, and understanding. When you live for yourself, it's important to surround yourself with people who accept you as you are, encourage your growth, and celebrate your individuality. These relationships feel supportive rather than draining, empowering you to pursue your goals without fear of judgment. For example, a close friend or partner who listens without criticism, supports your decisions, and believes in your potential can be a source of strength during challenging times. These connections remind you that you don't have to compromise your values to feel loved and accepted. On the other hand, toxic or unsupportive relationships can hinder your ability to live authentically. Toxic relationships often involve negativity, judgment, or manipulation, making it difficult to express your true self. For example, someone who constantly criticizes your dreams or belittles your choices might cause you to second-guess yourself. Over time, this erodes your confidence and can leave you feeling trapped in a version of yourself that isn't real. Recognizing these unhealthy dynamics is the first step toward creating healthier boundaries and freeing yourself from relationships that no longer align with your values. To build healthy relationships, it's essential to communicate openly and honestly. People cannot read your mind, so it's important to express your needs, boundaries, and desires clearly. For example, if you're pursuing a personal goal that requires time and energy, communicate this to the people in your life. Let them know what support you need, whether it's encouragement, space, or understanding. Healthy relationships are strengthened when both people feel heard and valued. By speaking your truth, you create a foundation of trust and openness that allows for growth and connection. It's also important to surround yourself with people who inspire you. When you connect with individuals who share similar values, passions, or aspirations, you feel motivated to pursue your own path. These relationships can take many forms: a mentor who offers guidance, a friend who pushes you to take risks, or a community that shares your interests. For example, someone who dreams of starting a creative project might find inspiration and support by joining a group of like-minded individuals. Being around people who inspire you reminds you of what's possible and gives you the confidence to keep moving forward. Elizabeth. Another key element of healthy relationships is reciprocity. A healthy connection involves give and take. Both people contribute to the relationship in meaningful ways. This doesn't mean keeping score or expecting equal effort at all times, but it does mean recognizing when a relationship has become one-sided. If you find yourself constantly giving without receiving support in return, it may be time to reevaluate that relationship. End footnote. For instance, a friend who only reaches out when they need something, but disappears when you need support, might not be providing the mutual respect and care that a healthy relationship requires. Building healthy relationships also means letting go of connections that no longer serve you. This can be one of the most difficult parts of living authentically, especially when you care about the people involved. However, holding on to relationships that drain your energy, create negativity, or undermine your growth can prevent you from living the life you truly want. Letting go doesn't mean holding resentment or anger. It means recognizing that the relationship has run its course and choosing to move forward with compassion. Self-awareness plays a significant role in identifying the relationships that truly support you. Take time to reflect on how the people in your life make you feel. Do they lift you up, or do they bring you down? Do they respect your boundaries, or do they push you to compromise your values? Answering these questions helps you distinguish between relationships that nurture your authenticity and those that hold you back. Healthy relationships feel balanced, uplifting, and safe, allowing you to grow into the best version of yourself. It's also important to invest in your relationship with yourself. The most fulfilling connections often start with a strong sense of self-love and self-respect. When you value yourself, you naturally attract relationships that reflect that energy. For example, someone who practices self-compassion and sets healthy boundaries will seek out relationships that mirror those qualities. Taking care of yourself, whether through self-reflection, self-care, or personal growth, ensures that you're bringing your best self to every connection in your life. Ultimately, building healthy and supportive relationships is about creating a network of people who respect, encourage, and celebrate you for who you are. These relationships become your foundation, providing the strength and support you need to live authentically. When you surround yourself with positive, uplifting people, you no longer feel the need to change yourself to fit their expectations. Instead, you're free to pursue your goals, express your true self, and embrace the life you want to create. It's just such a comfort to do. In the next scene, we'll explore how living authentically brings a sense of freedom and fulfillment, allowing you to experience life on your own terms. For now, take a moment to reflect on the relationships in your life. Are there connections that uplift and inspire you? Are there others that feel draining or unsupportive? By nurturing healthy relationships and letting go of those that no longer serve you, you create space for deeper connections and a stronger sense of authenticity. The freedom and fulfillment of living for yourself. When a person finally begins to live for themselves, they unlock a sense of freedom and fulfillment that no amount of external validation can provide. This freedom comes from embracing authenticity, making decisions based on personal values, and pursuing a life that reflects their true self. It's not about abandoning relationships, ignoring responsibilities, or rejecting advice. Instead, it's about releasing the weight of external expectations and learning to experience life on one's own terms. Living for yourself offers a kind of emotional freedom that is difficult to describe until you experience it. It's the feeling of no longer being held captive by others' opinions or judgments. When you stop seeking approval for every choice you make, you realize that the only opinion that truly matters is your own. For example, someone who dreams of leaving a stable job to pursue a creative passion might initially fear how others will react. But once they make the leap, they discover the joy of living a life guided by their own instincts rather than someone else's rules. This shift creates a profound sense of fulfillment because it aligns your actions with your values. Fulfillment doesn't come from what others think of you. It comes from knowing that you're living a life of meaning and purpose. It's about waking up each day with the knowledge that you are staying true to yourself regardless of how the world responds. For example, someone who values simplicity and nature might find peace in living a slower life in a small town, even if society labels it unambitious. The fulfillment they experience comes from honoring what brings them joy. Another powerful aspect of living for yourself is the freedom to grow and evolve. When you're no longer trapped by external expectations, you give yourself permission to try new things, take risks, and learn from failure. This freedom allows you to see mistakes not as reasons to feel shame, but as opportunities to grow. For instance, someone who starts a new business might face setbacks along the way, but because they're pursuing something meaningful to them, the journey becomes valuable, even when the outcome isn't perfect. Living authentically means embracing growth as part of the process rather than fearing it. Living for yourself also brings a sense of peace that's difficult to achieve when you're constantly trying to please others. It's the peace of knowing that you're not pretending to be someone you're not, nor are you sacrificing your happiness to meet someone else's standards. This peace comes when you let go of the pressure to have it all figured out or to live up to a perfect image. For example, someone might choose to step away from a busy, high-pressure career to focus on their health and well-being. While others might not understand their choice, the individual feels at peace because they've chosen what's best for them. This kind of fulfillment also changes how you experience relationships and connection. When you live for yourself, you attract people who love and accept you for who you are, not for who you pretend to be. Authenticity allows you to build deeper, more meaningful connections because you're no longer hiding parts of yourself or seeking approval. For example, someone who once conformed to fit in with a certain group might discover that when they start showing up as their true self, they attract friends who genuinely appreciate their unique personality and values. Living authentically also helps you experience life with more presence and joy. When you're no longer preoccupied with meeting external expectations, you can focus on the present moment and appreciate what's around you. For example, instead of constantly striving for the next big milestone or achievement, you learn to find happiness in the simple moments. Whether it's a quiet morning with a cup of coffee, a walk in nature, or time spent with loved ones. Living for yourself allows you to slow down and savor the richness of life as it unfolds. Another important part of this journey is realizing that living for yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. When you live authentically, you set an example for others to do the same. Your courage to follow your dreams, honor your values, and embrace your individuality inspires those around you to reflect on their own lives. For example, a person who pursues their passion despite challenges might encourage a friend to take their own leap of faith. By living for yourself, you not only create a fulfilling life, but also contribute to a world where others feel empowered to do the same. It's important to understand that living for yourself doesn't mean you'll never face challenges, criticism, or moments of doubt. There will still be times when you question your choices or feel the pull of external pressures. However, the difference lies in how you respond. When you're grounded in your values and committed to living authentically, you become more resilient in the face of adversity. You learn to trust yourself, adapt to challenges, and keep moving forward even when the path feels uncertain. Ultimately, the freedom and fulfillment of living for yourself come from realizing that this life is yours to shape. You have the power to make choices that reflect who you are, what you value, and what brings you joy. It's not about achieving perfection or meeting anyone else's standards. It's about creating a life that feels true to you. This freedom allows you to experience life fully, without holding back, and to look back on your journey with pride, knowing you lived it on your own terms. In the next and final scene, we'll reflect on the journey of authentic living and how embracing your true self creates a life of lasting contentment and purpose. For now, take a moment to ask yourself, what does freedom mean to you? How would your life look if you let go of the expectations holding you back? By living for yourself, you create the space to experience joy, peace, and fulfillment like never before. Embracing the journey of authentic living. Living for yourself is not a single decision or a final destination. It's a journey. It's a commitment to showing up every day as your true self, honoring your values, and making choices that align with the life you want to create. This journey is not about perfection. It's about progress. There will be challenges, moments of doubt, and times when the pressure to please others resurfaces. But each time you choose authenticity, you reclaim a little more of your freedom, your joy, and your sense of purpose. The journey to authentic living begins with self-acceptance. To live for yourself, you must first accept who you are, flaws and all. Many people hold themselves back because they're afraid they're not enough, not smart enough, talented enough, or successful enough. But living authentically means letting go of the need for perfection and embracing yourself as you are. It's recognizing that your imperfections are part of what makes you unique and valuable. For example, someone who once hid their love for art because they felt they weren't good enough might begin creating again, finding joy not in perfection but in expression. Self-acceptance also means releasing the need to compare yourself to others. When you stop measuring your worth by someone else's success or timeline, you create space to appreciate your own journey. For instance, a person who once felt inadequate because they hadn't achieved the same milestones as their peers might begin to see the value in their experiences, growth, and progress. Authentic living is not about keeping up with others. It's about staying true to your unique path. Another essential part of the journey is practicing patience and compassion with yourself. Change doesn't happen overnight, and living for yourself requires unlearning years of conditioning and expectations. There will be times when you feel uncertain, make mistakes, or revert to old habits. In these moments, it's important to treat yourself with kindness and remember that growth is a process. For example, someone learning to set boundaries may struggle at first, but over time, with practice, they build the confidence to stand firm in their needs. Each step forward, no matter how small, is progress worth celebrating. Living authentically also means embracing courage. It takes courage to make choices that may not be popular, to pursue dreams that others don't understand, or to speak your truth when it feels vulnerable. But courage grows stronger with practice. Each time you choose to honor yourself, whether it's saying no to something that doesn't align with your values or taking a risk on something that excites you, you build confidence in your ability to live life on your own terms. For example, someone who fears judgment for changing careers might take the leap anyway, finding fulfillment and confidence on the other side. Authentic living also brings clarity to what truly matters in life. When you stop living for others, you begin to focus on what brings you genuine joy, peace, and fulfillment. For some, this might mean nurturing relationships with loved ones, pursuing creative passions, or exploring new experiences. For others, it might mean simplifying their life, focusing on their health, or contributing to a cause they believe in. Whatever it looks like, living authentically means aligning your time and energy with what truly matters to you. It's important to remember that living for yourself doesn't mean isolating yourself or disregarding others. Relationships are still a valuable part of life, but they become stronger and healthier when you show up as your true self. Authenticity allows you to build deeper connections with those who love and accept you for who you are, rather than who you pretend to be. For example, someone who once hid their struggles out of fear of judgment might open up to a friend, strengthening their bond through honesty and vulnerability. Another key part of embracing this journey is recognizing that life is meant to be experienced fully, not just endured. Living for yourself allows you to find joy in the small, simple moments of life, like a quiet morning, a heartfelt conversation, or time spent pursuing a hobby you love. It frees you to enjoy the present rather than constantly chasing the next milestone or worrying about what others think. By slowing down and savoring these moments, you cultivate a sense of peace and gratitude for the life you're living. The journey of living authentically is also about leaving a legacy, one that reflects your values, your passions, and your unique contributions. When you live for yourself, you inspire others to do the same. Your courage, honesty, and willingness to embrace your true self create a ripple effect, encouraging those around you to reflect on their own lives. For example, someone who pursues a dream they've long ignored might inspire a friend to finally take the leap toward their own passion. Authentic living is not just a gift to yourself, it's a gift to the world. In the end, living for yourself is about honoring the life you've been given. It's about recognizing that you have one chance to live fully, meaningfully, and authentically. This doesn't mean the path will always be easy, but it will be yours, a life shaped by your choices, your values, and your desires. The freedom and fulfillment that come from living authentically are worth every moment of uncertainty and every step outside of your comfort zone. As this journey concludes, take a moment to reflect. Are you living a life that feels true to you, or are you holding back because of fear, comparison, or others' expectations? What small steps can you take today to move closer to your authentic self? Living for yourself is not a selfish act. It's an act of courage, self-respect, and love. By embracing this journey, you create a life that feels deeply meaningful, fulfilling, and uniquely your own. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of what it means to live for yourself. May you move forward with the courage to embrace your true self, the wisdom to honor your values, and the freedom to create a life that brings you joy and purpose. This is your life. Live it fully, authentically, and unapologetically.